We're talking about the violence over in Chicago, Philadelphia, all over the country as a result of defund the police. But specifically, this article here is profiling Seattle, Washington. It says, Seattle also finds itself in the midst of a recruiting crisis like other cities, by the way, and recently recorded a 30-year low in officers, according to King 5 News. Mayor Bruce Harrell and Police Chief Diaz earlier this summer announced a plan to hire new officers, including hiring incentives and relocation reimbursement, the outlet reported. We cannot deliver the effective public safety, swift response times, and thorough investigations our community deserves without a well-staffed and well-trained police department, Mayor Bruce Harrell said. So, as the Seattle Police Department remains short on officers, the city copes with a record-breaking August for homicides, according to Fox News. The city averaged around 3 homicides every August between 2008 and 2021, but in August of 2022, there was a 267% increase compared to the previous 14-year average. That's huge. So, why is there so much violence? I'll tell you, there are 3 characteristics of the devil in the modern world, according to Archbishop Fulton Sheen. Venerable Fulton Sheen says, you know the devil is in the world because you'll see 3 characteristics. Number 1, love of nudity. 2, violence. 3, and division. I want to focus on what Fulton Sheen says about that the sign of the devil in a society is violence. I don't want to key in on love of nudity or division. Let's talk about violence, because this article is talking about violence. Recent popes have warned us of the culture of death, namely St. John Paul II, where death is increasingly proposed as a solution to problems, but it's not, of course. In our culture, violence begins in the womb. As the innocent are attacked, and it's called choice and rights. The violence and embrace of death continues to riffle through the culture, through contraception, through abortion, violent gang activity, easy recourse to war. The past century was perhaps the bloodiest ever known on this planet, and untold people in the hundreds of millions died in 2 world wars, hundreds of regional wars and conflicts, horrific starvation campaigns in the Ukraine, in China and elsewhere, genocides in Central Europe and Africa and Southeast Asia. Paul Johnson, an author in his book called Modern Times, estimates that over 100 million people died in war and violent ways in just the first 50 years of the 20th century. And with every death, Satan did a Snoopy dance. Satan loves violence. He loves to set fires and watch us blame each other as we burn. Well, on a human level, why is there so much violence? I don't usually agree with him, but I agree with him here. Bill Maher, a leftist comedian, he said, quote, the average kid will watch 200,000 acts of violence on screen before their 18th birthday through Hollywood movies and the internet. According to the FBI, one of the warning signs of a potential school shooter is a fascination with violence-filled entertainment. We must find again our true north as a nation if we want to find the path to take out of this present darkness of violence. And what is the true north? Facing Jesus Christ, turning towards Jesus. This respect for every human life, it's grounded in the Old Testament and New Testament. It's grounded in the Jewish and Christian vision of the dignity of every human person. It once inspired us to hold a respect for every human life, whether that life be found in the first home of the womb, a wheelchair, a jail cell, a hospital room, a hospice, a senior center, a soup kitchen, or a refugee on a boat, as our highest public good. But I'll tell you, quoting St. Mother Teresa, she said this in 1994 at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. St. Mother Teresa, she said, I feel that the greatest destroyer of peace today is abortion, because it is a war against a child, a direct killing of the innocent child, murder by the mother herself. And if we accept that a mother can kill her, even her own child, how can we tell other people not to kill one another, close quote. Now, some people may call me simplistic for pointing to abortion in such a comment on this growing epidemic of violence, but I think that the words that Saint Mother Teresa of Calcutta, this nun from India, what she said, I believe, were prophetic. Somebody else who I believe was also prophetic on this was Rush Limbaugh, rest in peace. Rush Limbaugh nailed it back in June 10th, 2013, on one of his programs. He said, the root of our problems, the root of our cultural rot and decay, of irresponsibility, of economic woes, of violence in our country, why 10-year-olds are shooting each other, why our society is permissive, ornery, this is obvious to me. Abortion is the foundation of all our problems. How can we eliminate 55 million of our children and not be damaged by it? We need that 55 million people contributing to our society by paying taxes and more. I'll tell you why there's violence is because people don't know Jesus Christ. Pope Pius XI said in 1925, he wrote an encyclical called The Social Kingship of Christ. And in there he said, the reason why we have so much evil in the world, the manifold evil in the world, is because men have thrust Jesus Christ out of their heart. Men don't know Jesus, and nations don't know Jesus. Until individual men receive Jesus in their heart and nations receive Jesus, there will never be any peace. Pope Pius XI. Yes, this is why we have violence, is because men do not know Jesus Christ and nations have thrust him out of public policy. I'll tell you why there's more shootings also in these cities. Less fathers at home. I know that's not popular to say. Less dads at home. People are more worldly and less people go to church. Remember, prayers were banned by the Supreme Court. The Bible was banned. The 10 Commandments have been banned by the Supreme Court. So our society is just more secular. We're more godless. There's more divorce. There's more broken families. There's a lot less people that are formed. Their intellect is not formed by the Word of God. Less people go to church. There's more permissive laws in our society. There's so many violent movies, violent music, and video games. There's more people under the influence these days because of marijuana, especially marijuana, but other drugs as well. And so Satan and demons are constantly tempting us, and most people are defenseless. What do we have to do? We got to be part of the resistance movement. And we got to bring Jesus Christ back into the public square, into the heart of every man, woman, and child, and into my heart, and into the heart of every nation as well.